Alright, lots to talk about. Lots of links. Use the links to your best advantage again. Um, where to start, even? Where I'd like to start very quickly. So, name where the Founding Fathers screwed up. Just put it down there in the comments. Where do we need to amend the Constitution? Or what do you need to, strike down or strike out in the Constitution? What's in there that needs to change? Alright? I mean, where'd they get it wrong? Right, and if they didn't get it wrong, then these unconstitutional laws need to be struck down. Another reason why Ron Paul would be the prospect of him getting in terrifies the status quo, because they worked so hard and so long to get around our Constitution and make laws and do things that make the Constitution null and void for all intents and purposes, and this guy could change all of that in 4 years. Right? How about we get, Fourth Amendment? Fourth Amendment except in airports. Right? Fourth Amendment does not apply at bus stops, airports. Let's see. If you're getting on a boat, if you're going to a sporting event, Fourth Amendment does not apply. Let's see if they can get away with that. Put it in there. Try to amend the Constitution. First Amendment does not apply. We have free speech zones instead when there's political rallies. Just go like Article 3, Section 2. What kind of courts do we have, right? When we're talking about the judicial. Let's see. Well, we have maritime, admiralty, equity, and common law. So should we, do we need to change that? There are some people that say that actually we do. But, okay, so they gave us a mechanism for amending the Constitution. Let us do so. Let us not ignore it and go around it and write unconstitutional laws. Right? We need to be a nation of laws, not of men. This is one of the main reasons why, Ron Paul terrifies them. Again, the drug war. Oh my goodness. Right? And it more links about how, we have government industry in the drug war. Basically, that's all it is. Government industry. Right? The Pentagon wanting to transfer the war on drugs to private mercenaries, including Blackwater. There you go. Government industry. Simple as that. And look at all these corporations that would hate it if the drug war ended, because then they would be, losing billions and billions of dollars. Now, again, that's just billions of dollars. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and if we could get a war going with Iran, boy, just think, more trillions of dollars, and more graft, and more war profiteering. Then all these guys are just salivating. You can almost see them just wringing their hands, like, just, oh boy, they just can't wait. Right? And, it's ridiculous. Again, they're trying to fool you with the weapons of mass destruction lie. And here I have, more links, right? More links that about how basically this is FRN hegemony in the Middle East, right? There's a great one by Zero Hedge. Are the Middle East wars really about forcing the world into dollars and private central banking? I don't know. Are the popes really Catholic? I don't know. Are there bears shitting in the woods? I don't know. Right? It's not about oil, and it's not about all the other things. The resource war, no. If they don't have a central bank, our central bank wants to use our, blood and treasure, our boys, right, our young men and women, to go put a central bank in for them. Bottom line, it's about all the money. Always has been, always will. Oil's a part of it, sure, but it's about all the money. Right? It's as simple as that. And again, in our country, in this election, the main thing is all the money. A private corporation prints our money at interest, loans it to us at interest. Right? It's about all the money, and Ron Paul's exploiting that. And they've made themselves a monopoly. There used to be a time when there were competing currencies in the Treasury. There were silver, and there were silver certificates, and there were also Federal Reserve notes. And now the Federal Reserve has the absolute monopoly on all the money. And they don't want any competition of any kind whatsoever. Because even Ron Paul is not saying, okay, let's shut down the Federal Reserve and do that, right? All he's saying, how about some competition? Ooh, can't have that. Right? And, Federal Reserve officials foresaw and joked about the housing bubble in 2006. Again, this is contrived. It has been contrived. They saw it coming. That whole media lie about nobody saw this coming. They knew it was coming. They were ready for it. And how do they always get you out of it? War. They've done this 6 times, and you're falling for it again. Right? It's just unbelievable. Any caveman can understand this. And then torture. right? Ron Paul gets in there. Some of these guys might be held accountable for their actions because torture is illegal. Eighth Amendment to the Constitution, and the Constitution, again, is the law of the land. Comes back to the Constitution. Right? British find that detainee was tortured as part of American interrogation. Obama administration threatens to cut off intelligence to England. Now, read that article. And people say, well, that was in Morocco, that was outside. Well, read Obama's paper on rendition, right? Get the people out of the country, and supposedly the Constitution doesn't apply. Sorry, guys, that doesn't work. Because the Constitution, everybody, if you're an official of the United States, you swear an oath to uphold and protect the Constitution. All of our soldiers, all of our emissaries, all of our ambassadors, everybody. Right? Constitution applies. And if you are in our custody, Constitution applies to you because it applies to the men that are holding you in custody. There's no wiggle room here. There's no argument. How they can possibly, spin the lies and try to, warp the meaning of plain words, this is how you know these are tyrants. Because only tyrants try to do this. Hats off to Voltaire. But anyway, let's see here. Systemic silence about the NDAA proves long plot to destroy America is real. Vindicating conspiracy theorists. Right? This is great. This is a short article. The silence of the mainstream media when it comes to indefinite detention and that whole thing is deafening. And Ron Paul talking about it? They don't even want him talking about it. Right? Huntsman's dropped out of the race. So who are his guys going to go for? Right? Because Huntsman was talking about things like this. And now you're going to try and tell me that these, people in South Carolina want to have Mitt Romney be their man. Mitt Romney is the guy. Mitt Romney is, okay, so don't have to be against Obama, don't have to be against Mitt Romney. Just expose their record. Talk about their record, right? Don't be like they're trying to smear Ron Paul. You don't have to smear Romney. Just expose his record. Shine some light on Bain Capital, right? These guys destroyed KB Toys. And that was just one of the pieces. And in one of the things that they did, these guys are more ruthless than the guys at Goldman Sachs. And that's saying something. People in South Carolina should know this. And yet he's supposed to be the front runner in South Carolina. And he destroyed how many steel mills and jobs in South Carolina? Like, oh, yeah, we want a robber baron. I can't even say it. We want a robber baron. That's who we want. We want a robber baron for president. Because, and that's the only name you can put on it. Take a look at Bain Capital. Show this to the Mormons. Of course the Mormons are for Romney. Right? It's just like, of course the black guys are for Obama. Most of them. Right? But many of us have woken up to like, liberty better than just having the black guy in there. Right? The well-spoken black man, it would be nice if he was like Ron Paul, but he does not use the Constitution. Supposed to be a constitutional scholar, but doesn't seem to know what the thing means. Doesn't seem to understand what's in there. Otherwise, he could never have put his signature on NDAA. Right? And you have a guy in like Ron Paul that would use the Constitution as his guidepost, a lot of laws wouldn't get passed, and some laws would be repealed. And they've been working really hard for a really long time, right, to try and get around the Constitution. More links. Oh, wait. Here's a great recipe for vote fraud. Global internet voting firm buys a U.S. election results reporting firm. Awesome. Just read the article. I would assume that you'd be able to put two and two together. Bain Capital owns Clear Channel. There's another reason why, of course, the people at Clear Channel want Romney. It's just like back in the day when they were trying to say, well, Vice President Cheney wouldn't be doing anything for Halliburton. Halliburton was the no-brainer stock buy of the decade, right? When they got in, Halliburton was, just look at the price of Halliburton stock after Dick Cheney got in. And that was, of course. Let's see here. And again, more about them lying about war. Right? New York Times caught lying about Iran and, no diversion of uranium for military purposes. And it's a short 3-minute video. They're lying into war again. It's just unbelievable that they can get away with it again. And then let's take a look. Who are these guys? Who are the people that have, been working against us for so long? They're called the bankers, the central bankers. Right? They've shot our presidents in the past. Abraham Lincoln, James Garfield, William McKinley, John F. Kennedy. That's 4 that they got. And probably Zachary Taylor was poisoned. Probably. Right? And then they've made attempts on Andrew Jackson. They tried to get Theodore Roosevelt. They tried to get Abraham Lincoln, Herbert Hoover. Right? On and on and on. These guys don't play ball. They try to kill him. Truman, another one, right? I mean, again and again. And now, unlike before, we are able to start, put two and two together and see when they do these things, right? So this whole single bullet theory thing isn't going to fly, right? Anymore. Doesn't work so well, which is one of the things keeping Ron Paul alive, because many Ron Paul supporters support the Constitution, therefore they support the Second Amendment, therefore, right? This is why they put people that, have Ron Paul bumper stickers on the list. These guys are dangerous, right? These sheep will not be herded. Anyhow, and this is the other thing, Twitter debate, just going over, I have so many tabs open. This is rather here and there, but at the same time, it's all one point, and the point is Ron Paul is absolutely the front runner, more than Mitt Romney. Are you kidding? That people really think that you can fool them, right? And the Bain Capital story, people don't care about, right? All you got to do is expose that story. But the Twitter debate, viewers agree that Ron Paul the only one giving straight answers, right? And that, of all the candidates, who was the most, worst at answering questions with straight answers? Romney. Who was the biggest dodger? Romney. Right? And yet he's the number one front runner. Yeah, let's have a robber baron that dodges, can't speak a straight, can't give straight talk, can't give straight answers. Yeah, he's the front runner. Because Americans like robber barons who don't give straight answers. Right? I mean, can you buy this? And then we see that if you take a look, well, he got 50% of this vote and 50% of that vote and 50% of that vote, but when we total it all up, he only got 20%. And then the other thing that they didn't mention, and you should notice up in New Hampshire, is that 1 in 5 almost, I think Obama got 81% and 19% wrote Ron Paul. Not Hillary Clinton, not somebody else, not Mitt Romney, not Huntsman. 20% of those guys, almost, right? Almost 1 in 5 of them wrote Ron Paul on their ballots. And that's the Democrats. Think about that. And the media, did they mention that? They did not mention that. You might point that out. I'll get you, look down there in the links. It's down there. Okay, that covers it, right? But I mean, the systemic silence about the NDAA proves the long plot to destroy America is real, right? And that whole thing, that's the point with the, how many assassination attempts, how many, right? Who owns our media? The bankers. Why is the media silent about NDAA? Because the bankers want them to be silent. Why are they against Ron Paul? Because the bankers want them to be against Ron Paul, right? And of course, among the candidates, Romney actually owns, is part of a consortium that owns, right? Clear Channel, all these different talk show hosts on the radio. Of course, they're not going to give Ron Paul a fair shake because their master is named Mitt Romney. And like I said, if you don't believe that, there's the same guys that tried to sell you the idea that Halliburton wasn't going to prosper under Cheney, right? Even more, it would prosper if it was the president of the United States, right? They saw it coming. They're trying to use war to get you out again, right? They've done it 5 or 6 times. Don't fall for it, right? You don't have to be against Obama. Don't have to be against Romney. Just have to shine light on their records, and everything else will take care of itself. And then, of course, you have to work very, very hard about getting, recognition of this concept of vote fraud. Because so many people are still resistant. They think everything's fair and square, even though they couldn't tell you whether the vote was counted or not. Do you know if your vote's counted? No. Well, better figure that part out, guys. Anyway, use the links. There's tons of links. And make sure you let people know our guys, stance on whatever the issue is. And then just expose the records. Just expose the records of the other guys. That's all you have to do. And people, any fair-minded thinking individual will see the choice is clear.